able to create few game objects with rigid bodies and colliders, and show you guys what these things can do, the effects of adding a rigid body and box collider components to a game object. And today we are going to make this our player box move. We're going to make it move left, right, and we're also going to make it jump. And to do this we need a script. So let's get started. Now to add a script, we just simply go under add components. Let's just make sure we are doing this under the right game object, which is our player. Add components, we scroll down to new scripts, and then we type in the name of our script right here. I'll call it player move, and then create and add. It's going to take quite some time to load up, but and then when it loads, we double click to open up. Visual Studio usually takes some time. Okay, above our code here you can see the various functions. It says start is called before the first frame updates, and updates is called once per frame, and most of our code is going to be under void updates. And to make our player move left and right, we're going to be using transform.translate. Okay, but we will need to press in some keys to make our player move left and right, and to do that we'll need to use the if statement, open parenthesis, open curly brackets, and in here we're going to check if we press a key, input dot get key, and key code dot let's see, left arrow. Now this code is going to check if we pressed in the left arrow, and I can also copy this and then put it down here right under, and then another one, change this left to right, and this second one is going to check if we press the right arrow. And to make our player move left, we're going to use the left arrow. To make it move right, we're going to use the right arrow, and as I said, we're going to be using transform.translate. okay, transform.translate 0,0,0, and then what this says is this first 0 represents x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. What this code basically does is changes the transform of our player, and since we don't under void update, it's going to change the position of our player every frame update, which is going to make it look like it's moving constantly. And then to do this, we're going to have to check what axis we're going to have to alter to make our player move left and right. And now if we can see our player, to make it move left, we're going to have to drag it on the x-axis. As you can see, the x-axis here is changing as I move it left and I move it right. Okay, so which means when we move it forward, that's when we move it right, we see it adds to the x-axis, and we move it left, it subtracts from it. So which means in our code we're going to be adding and subtracting from our x-axis, and this first 0 is our x-axis. And let's begin. So here we're going to put in a minus sign because we're going to be subtracting. Let me give it a value of 1, and here we're going to be putting 1, okay, because we're going to be adding to it. We can say +1, but there's no need for the plus. Put in 1, and then when we head back to Unity, if I should play the game, when I press the right arrow, we see it moving, and left arrow moving left, right arrow moving right, but it's really fast. Okay, but we will have to come back to our code to change the value, which is quite stressful. But why do that when we can easily change the value straight from Unity? Well, we're going to have to use more code, and here you're going to use variables as say public float, and let's call it speed. This is going to represent the speed of our player box, and equate it to 1, and then close that up. Okay, and instead of 1 here, I could just type in speed, and same with this, speed. And if I save this, head back to Unity, and you can see our speed value is shown here, and here I can alter the speed of our player to make it slower or faster anyhow I wish. So take this back to 1, and when I play the game, you can see when I move the player right and left, you can see how fast the movement is. So we're going to have to reduce the speed because it's too fast for us. I'll take it down to 0.2 first of all. Okay, it's moving a lot slower now. I'll still tune it down. Let's have that 0.1. Okay, now the movement feels a lot better. Now we can move our player left and right, and all that's left is to make him jump. Now to make our player jump, we're going to have to use our rigid body 2D. Well, I know it's the same thing that's making our player fall, but yes, we're going to make use of it. We're going to head back to our script in Visual Studio and create a new variable, public float, public rigid body 2D, and I'll just call it RB for short. And when I save this and head back to Unity, you will see an open space. Here I can place in my rigid body 2D and then place in the components, and then when I come back to my code, I can easily alter the various characteristics of my rigid body. Okay, but all I need is the add force. So first of all, I'm going to look for the key that we're going to be using to jump, which is the space button. So I'm going to check if we press down the space button, and key code that's space, and then here I'll just use rigid body RB, that's add force. Okay, and I'll use the vector 2 dot I'll specify the direction I want my character to go, which is upwards, times the force. Okay, I'm going to create a new variable, public float. I'll call it jump force. This is the force which our player will be using to jump, and here I put in jump force. So if I save this, head back to Unity, we can see our jump force. I'll give it a value of let's see, I'll go with 100. Okay, and then if I press down the space button, we can see that our player begins to jump. But then there is a problem. The longer we hold the space button, the more our player continues to jump, as you can see here. But we don't want that. We want it to be such that once we press the button, it jumps just once, and we can do that by changing this from get key to get key down. And if I save this, head back to Unity, when I play it, then I press the button, space button. Okay, it seems a bit low. Seems the force is not enough now. I'll change this to 300, and then pressing the space button, as you can see, we can jump a bit high. Okay, move left, move right, and then jump over the box. But then the jumping doesn't feel too smooth. It seems to be very slow and not too responsive. Well, there's a particular kind of force we can use to make this more responsive, which is called the impulse force. So we're just going to go here and add force mode 2D dot impulse, and then when we add this, going back to Unity, and then this force of 300, it's too much. I'll just take it down to around 10, and then when I move, we can see that the moment I press the button, it jumps a lot higher, but I can reduce this to 7. Okay, this feels a lot better than before.